Jorgelt Kivano Kujvajo. Do you like a good story? I hope so because I think I'm about to tell you one. At least I hope you think it'll be a good story. And I find myself at a very special place this morning. Right behind me is beautiful Lake Mary. Lake Mary. I've got a sister named Mary, and the lake is almost as beautiful as her. But it's a chilly morning here in Flagstaff, and I was driving down the road to come out here to kind of scout out, a place to spend a few days, and just kind of relax. And one of the things I love about driving and road trips, especially when I'm alone, it's the solitude of the road. It's the solitude of just sitting in a car, looking at the miles go past, looking at all of God's creation, and just sorting through my thoughts and my feelings and what have you. And as I was driving down the road today, I might as well have been driving down memory lane because I found myself thinking back to a time in my life, and I thought, what an interesting story, and it might be something that might be interesting to share with some of you out there that care to listen to it, and and the story goes something like this. Probably the better part of about 28 years ago, I stood on a beach in Northern California, and I opened my arms to the heavens, and I said, Lord Jesus Christ, come into my life, make me an instrument of your peace, and put me on a path that ultimately lead me to your open arms. And I didn't think much of that when I said it. When I said that, there were tears coming down my face. And up until that point in time in my life, I had been living hand to mouth. I'd been, various times sleeping out of my car, and just doing everything I could to survive in life. And to say that life was a struggle for me up until that point in time, it was an understatement. And what's interesting is that after I accepted Christ into my life, I decided that I was going to try to reconnect with my roots. I was going to go back if I could. They say you can never go back, but I was going to go back. And I decided to throw what little stuff I had into a little tiny storage unit. My dad at the time loaned me a little bit of money, and I bought a Ford Festiva car, a little hatchback. And the back seat folded down, and the front seats folded forward, and if you really pushed it, you could sleep in it if you had to. But back then it was all about sleeping in cars. And I got in that car, and I decided I was going to go home, and I was going to reconnect with my family that I had been disconnected from since I left at the age of 18. And I started driving down the interstate in California, and I got about 9 or 10 hours into my drive, and and I started to think to myself, why am I in a hurry to get back to Ohio? Why am I in a hurry? I'm 29 years old. I've got nothing to go back to. I've got, there's no job waiting for me. There's no family. There's nothing. Why am I in a hurry? And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna saunter my way across America. And to do that, I needed to have a little bit of money, so to speak, or a way to saunter my way across America, to stretch out, 5 days. I think my dad gave me a little bit of money to make it home as well. But to take a 3 to 5 day trip and stretch it into, a month or something like that was quite a stretch. And then I had an idea that came into my mind, and the idea was, I stopped at a store, and I bought a bottle of this white shoe polish, and on the back of my window I wrote, "Across America with a Smile." Across America with a Smile, in big letters on the back of my hatchback. And I wanted to see what a smile would get you in life. I just wanted to see, just being friendly, reaching out to people and being friendly, what would that get you in life? And it got me a lot on that trip. I still have pictures and I still have my journals from that trip. And it opened a lot of doors for me and put me into some really, really wonderful and interesting situations. And one interesting situation was right here in this area where I'm standing right now. And that was I was driving along and I wanted to really connect with nature. I wanted to connect with nature, and I had heard about how beautiful Sedona was, Sedona, Arizona. So I pulled through Flagstaff, and then I took a short drive south into Sedona. And as I was coming down into Sedona, there was this creek there, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to take enough food for overnight. I'm going to take my journal with me. I'm going to take a little lantern and a little tent, and I'm going to walk down into this riverbed. I'm going to walk down into this riverbed and I'm going to camp for the night and I'm going to connect with God. And and off I went down into this canyon. And it was late in the day. I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was late in the day. And as I was walking down that canyon, I started noticing something. I started noticing signs warning about flash floods, unexpected flash floods. I started noticing these large amounts of wood kind of piled up, which would be indicative of a large flood coming down, carrying a lot of wood and what have you, and it just kind of gets piled up, as it's coming down and with the surge of water. And anyway, I found a little tiny spot to camp. I found a little tiny spot to camp, and then it started to get dark. And then the wind started to pick up. And then it started to get freezing cold. And I sat in that tent last night. I spent the night in that tent that night. And I built a little fire. But then I started worrying about starting one of these big forest fires, because the wind was just blowing sparks everywhere. So I had to put the forest fire out. And I went to sleep that night. I tried to go to sleep. I didn't sleep much that night. I don't think I slept at all that night. And and I laid there all night long, and then all of a sudden I started hearing these weird sounds in the canyons. Very weird sounds. And I thought, "Oh my God, what the hell did I do?" And the point of the story is this. This morning I was driving down the very same highway that took me to that spot 20 some years ago, 25 years ago. And and I thought to myself as I was driving along, I thought, what a contrast. Here I am 25 years later, 25 years wiser, driving down the road, the same road that took me to that little camp spot where I huddled in a tiny little tent and froze my ass off all night long. And here I am driving down the same road looking for a campsite. I'm in a beautiful pickup truck with heated seats, worth $70,000 paid for, towing a camper that's got a flush toilet, a shower, 2 TVs, not one. It's got a stove. It's got a refrigerator. It's got a queen-size bed that I'll get to sleep in for the first time in, I don't know, 3 weeks now. It's got it's got a table. It's got an outside awning. It's got it all. And I thought to myself, what a contrast. What a contrast between then and now. And you know what? I don't take it for granted. I don't take any of it for granted. And and I always give credit where credit is due. Yeah, I always give credit where credit is due. And as I drive along and I look at this beautiful scenery that you see behind me, I thank the Lord. I thank the Lord for everything that He's done in my life and everything that He continues to do in my life. And I am so grateful for it. It is just what an opportunity. I mean, what a disposition to be in life. To be able to wake up in the morning. And as I just told this story to a very dear client of mine. His name is Gary Jennings. you can go to JimJenningsTransmission.com or transmissions.com, and you'll see Gary. There's a picture of him. He's about 72 years old, and I love him like a brother. And he was. I've known Gary for the better part of 10 years, but I was telling Gary the same exact story, and and Gary has known me for, I don't know, 15 years or something like that, and he's seen me go from where I was to where I am, and he said, "Boy, Tom," he said, "I envy you." He said, "I really envy you." He said, "Look at you." He said, "I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done, and the decisions that you've made." And I said, Gary," I said, "it's not all about the decisions that I've made. A lot of it is about the decisions that other people have made. A lot of it is about decisions like Peter Fink with Certified Transmission. The decision that he made, to hire me, the faith that he had in me. Dennis Madden with a company called ATRA, who made the decision to give me a chance, and all that. So life is just all about life is all about perspective, and I gotta tell you, I'm not. I hate to admit it, but there's this guy named Skip Smith. I always seem to work him into the videos somehow. There's this guy named Skip Smith in the Villages who was telling me yesterday that I should just saunter. I should just relax and enjoy, find a nice spot. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to find myself a beautiful spot somewhere along this lake. And I'm going to go to bed tonight after sitting by a campfire, listening to some Van Morrison, looking up at the stars. And I'm going to keep the windows open, even though it'll be a little bit cold because I'll be in the queen-size bed with the duvet cover on it. And I'll keep the windows open so I can smell the whispering pines, as they say in the lyrics from a Zac Brown band. But I'll be able to smell the whispering pines, and I'll wake up in the morning and look at the blue skies, and maybe I'll go on a bike ride. It looks like a beautiful, beautiful area for a bike ride. So anyway, that is the story. I think that I will maybe I can turn this camera around here and show you if I can turn this around. Maybe I can't. Well, I can't turn the camera around, but anyway, I can just hold the camera up. Look at how beautiful this is. You can't even hear a word, or you can't hear a sound. Maybe if you listen closely, you hear the sound of a fish jumping or something like that. But is that just gorgeous or what? So there you have it, folks. I hope everybody has a beautiful day.